Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we get into this video, I did want to talk about something a little bit serious. My region here in the mountains of East Tennessee was devastatingly affected by the recent Hurricane Helene. It was something my region was not prepared for at all whatsoever. We were not told to evacuate. We've always thought that the mountains protected us, but this time they didn't, and there has just been an astronomical amount of damage done to our region. Not only here in East Tennessee, but just right up the road to Asheville, right over the mountain. We can't even get to Asheville anymore. Newport has been completely wiped. Chimney Rock doesn't even exist anymore. Appalachia is poor. Appalachia has been poor. This region has been built off of coal miners, poor people being put in the ground, mining for pennies, and then being taken advantage of by Big Pharma, who came in here and got everyone addicted to opiates. It is a very poor region. I cannot express that enough. So these are people that are struggling to make payments, struggling to find housing, struggling to pay for groceries, and they have just gotten everything taken away from them. Their clothing, their shelter, family members, pets, money, their vehicles, everything. I'm literally everything. I don't know how else to say it. Everything has been taken from them. So I'm going to drop a link in my description box. It's from Appalachian Voices. They have a huge list of resources to where you can donate your time and your money or just educate yourself on what's going on. The government does not care about poor people. They do not care about Appalachia. They never have and they never will. So I am begging you to please listen and pay attention and get your news from the people that are here, not from news sources that don't have our best interest in mind. It is poor people helping poor people right now. I understand that, especially in our economy, it is so hard to even have spare change, but if you even have $1, that can get gloves, that can get water to people. We don't even have clean drinking water. If you don't have any resources to donate, one of the best things you can donate is your voice. Uplifting the voices of people that are affected here, educating yourself, and just spreading the word. I just thought I would talk about that because it is my home. This is a very awkward transition from this very somber moment that I need to share with you all to a video. So sorry if my mood is off. Today I'm going to be doing a new wave look, a new wave 80s, new romantic inspired look. I've had these items in my closet for a while now, and I've always wanted to put them together to create one cohesive look, and I just never have. So I thought, I don't have any idea what to film today, so I might as well just do that look. While I am doing my makeup, I thought I would take some time to shed a light on some education. There's a lot of discourse going around, specifically on TikTok, the bane of my existence, about how new wave is not goth, which so I thought I would just talk a little bit about the influence that new wave and new romantic era had on the subculture and the things that they share, the things that they don't share, and how they are intertwined, even though goth and new wave are not the same thing, but they are connected, and there needs to be an acknowledgement of the connection. Let's get into it. So not only has new wave, new romantic, I'm going to be using these interchangeably. There is a difference. However, for all purposes of this video, if I'm talking about new wave, I'm talking about new romantic in the same breath. It's like when you're using goth as a term, but I will try to be as specific as I can be. I did write down some notes on my computer to keep me on focus and try to keep it cohesive. So let's just jump into the aesthetics, since that's what I'm going to be working on for most of this video. So one of the biggest things in the new romantic scene and the new wave scene is this overt expression of flamboyance and theatrics, self-expression and androgyny, pushing things to the extreme, if you will. Sound a little bit familiar? That is what many goths do in the subculture, with their white face, their black eyeliner, and their black lips. Not a requirement, but a choice that many goths make. Not even just with their makeup, but with their fashion. Now, what new romantics, new wave, club kids, I'll also include club kids in this because they had a giant impact on the avant-garde scene as well. They used a lot of colors, they used makeup to really exaggerate specific parts of their face, almost like a type of drag, which if you've been on TikTok recently, people have been talking about the new style of goth makeup, not the super like 80s accurate traditional goth makeup like Susie Sue, where she was doing these angled looks on her face with purple and black and a red lip. And now we have this type of drag goth is what they're calling it, with the really big eyeliner, it comes to a point, the black lipstick, more like death rock inspired, but to the extreme, which is exactly what they did with New Romantics, the club kids, and in New Wave. Now, New Wave was a little bit more toned down, especially if you're looking at the New Wave that was very popular in the media at the time. So if we're thinking about bands like Tears for Fears, Flock of Seagulls, we do see this edge of androgyny, we do see this impact of extreme fashion, but we also see this little bit of a softer side to the new wave scene as well, where we're seeing like dress pants and dress shirts or sweaters. Every time I think about Tears for Fears, I think about a knit oversized sweater, you know, and that's because that's something that they pulled for a lot in that scene. But then it's stacked with something like a long earring, like Wham. Wham was wearing what was popular at the time, but they were doing it in a more androgynous, feminine, flamboyant type of way. See, this is where I start to get distracted about like what to talk about, because we could also talk about in the same breath of pushing gender norms, pushing societal norms, and talk about the morals and values of goth and how it also connects with the morals and values of new wave, new romantic, and the club kids, and then punk as well. I digress. Let's keep on the self-expression route that I was just going on. But basically you can see the same exact aspects of goth connecting to new wave, new romantic, and club kids, just done in a different way. We see the same eccentricities, that is a hard word for me, eccentricities of the fashion and the makeup and the androgyny come through in just different fonts, basically. We have the goths doing the moody Victorian dark route, and then we have the new waves and the new romantics going for a more upbeat, colorful, pop inspired type of vibe, but it's all the same thing, just different fonts. Not only are they connected in an aesthetic way and a morals way, we're also a haven for the queer community. Queer people thrive in the goth community, the new wave community. The club kid scene was almost 100% queer people. So that's just another thing that connects us to each other. The pushing gender roles and androgyny was not only exclusive to these scenes, though. We got to see this in the hair metal scene that was very popular and took over the entire radio in the 80s. We saw this all the time, and new wave was pop music back then. People were listening to new wave. They just didn't see it as a subculture because it was just pop music back then. Because of that overlap in self-expression and creativity, a lot of these people integrated into each other's club scenes as well. So you would see new wave, new romantic people attending events at the Bat Cave, and vice versa, because there is this underlying respect and connection between creativity, self-expression, moralities, and it basically was just intertwined into one another. Now, music-wise, we see quite a bit of influence from new wave into goth, and the way that I see the biggest impact is in dark wave. I feel like there's such a strong connection between new wave and dark wave that it's almost identical. Not identical, but like I've been saying, same thing, different fonts. So new wave, their music was very upbeat, poppy, usually lyrics revolving around heartbreak, love, Tears for Fears. Sorry, love them, have to mention them a billion times, have them tattooed on me. I adore Tears for Fears. Not only did they write songs about love, pressures from society, fitting in, heartbreak, all of those things, but they also talked about the government and what was happening around the world. Like, just listen to Sowing the Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears, and that is just a political song. I mean, we can even see the impact. Oh my god, there's so many things we could talk about, y'all. There's so many things. Like the way that club kids performed at the club, the way that they carried themselves through their performances with just these elaborate and extreme performances, and how that translate into goth. Like, you could see footage of Roz Williams just melting on stage. Dave from Depeche Mode literally spinning around. That's all he does, is he spins and he runs. Just these elaborate expressions that goth also has in their performances that also occurred in the club kid new wave, new romantic scene. There's so many connections, y'all. So many connections. When talking about dark wave, even EBM, we see that retention of the synthesizers and the electronic aspect of the music being the focal point in these subgenres. Something that is undeniably connected to new wave and new romantic. We just see them do it in a little bit of a different way. We see them focusing on it in a more moody way, a darker way. And you can see that with a lot of goth bands. You see that a ton. Synth is used a ton in goth music. There are some songs that exist in new wave that have such a deep meaning that if you heard them on the radio, you wouldn't even think twice, because you're not breaking down those lyrics and thinking about the deeper meaning behind it. So many Depeche Mode songs exist like that, which I guess that's where I get the most upset, is where people are like, Depeche Mode is not goth. Stop including them with goth music. Stop including them in the same breath as goth. How are you all gonna not acknowledge the impact that Depeche Mode had on the subculture? Because as a goth, if they like Depeche Mode, they know who they are, I'm sure, unless they're just living under a rock. 2, they probably like them. I don't know if I've explained any of this well enough, if it's just been me ranting about little tiny antics and how they all overlap and it's just the same thing in different fonts. How many times have I said that? I just feel like it's something that we could shed a little bit more light on and be a little bit more forgiving about online. I think people just want to be as elitist as possible. And yes, there is something to be said about educating yourself on the differences between all of these subgenres. But there is also something about educating yourself on the connection between these subgenres. You don't only have to acknowledge the disconnect. There's a little crash course on the connection between new wave and goth that I just felt like talking about while I do this look. I don't know where I'm going with this look, which is why I just keep stopping right here, feeling like adding a little bit of blue to it. But I'm also feeling like a blue contour would be really cool. I have a blue lipstick that I want to work with. I think I'm going to just do a little montage. My battery is about to die. So yeah, let's just do a little montage of the rest of the makeup, and then I will take you along as I create the look. I'm running out of daylight, so I'm gonna have to film while they're mowing, but I did want to show you the dress that I have been keeping in mind. I thrifted this a while ago. I have yet to wear it or style it. It is gorgeous. It has these buttons all the way down straight with these really low pockets on it, and I have this very Jackie O inspired hat from Jean Doris, New York. But this might be 60s era, because it just reminds me a lot of Jackie O. But I was thinking about having it sit here with this scarf that is also vintage wrapped around here. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm going to gel down my hair so it stays. I don't want any little flyaways peeking out. And then I'm gonna put on this dress and we will see if it comes together the way I want it to. Okay, I have the dress on and y'all look at these shoulder pads. They're giving. Also, like, it's just serving face. I hope you like the look. I feel like it came out pretty good, exactly what I envisioned it would look like, so I'm very pleased. Glad to have finally put this together because I've had this look in mind for so long and it just takes me kicking myself in the butt basically to do it, and I finally did it and now I'm happy. And once again, please don't forget about the resource link I have linked in the description box below from Appalachian Voices with all of the resources that you can donate towards to help rebuild East Tennessee and North Carolina. I appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss another upload. Bye!